Okay, all my thousands and thousands of listeners and YouTube watchers out there, it's time for another session with the Midnight Skeptic. And here is my play in music. You are listening to KPCA LP, Petaluma, California, at 103.3 FM and worldwide at www.kpca.fm. And this is the Midnight Skeptic. The views of the Midnight Skeptic are not, repeat, not necessarily the views of KPCA or any of its affiliates. Okay, the YouTubers got a gander at the t-shirt I'm wearing now, yellow t-shirt that we wore for the Butter and Egg Days parade here in Petaluma a couple of years ago. I was with the KPCA contingent marching down the street. And so I have two of these, and I wear them proudly now. Okay, this is February 29th. This is a leap year, and the time is about 3:15. And so this will be broadcast on Sunday the 3rd. No, is that right? Sunday the 3rd is correct at 9 p.m. on KPCA locally. If you've got a FM radio, you can tune us in 103.3 FM or worldwide at www.kpca.fm. You'll get it. It's all over the world, and I have thousands of listeners out there who hang on my every word. Okay, the big question for this week, and maybe even next week, will be, why is it that the most hate-filled, bullying, unaccepting people gravitate to the Republican Party? Please, this November of 2024, vote out all of the GOPers. Make this country kind again. And a note that I wrote to myself in my notes here. These are my notes. I've got to look up. I mean, literally and figuratively. I can't keep looking down at my notes because you are denied the opportunity to gaze upon my visage. Okay, enough of that. And I'm not going to sing about how woke I am, although I am. Okay, I'm going straight to my shout outs now. First and foremost is Mickey Huff and his two cohorts, Nolan Higdon and Andy Lee Roth, over there at Project Censored. Go to their website and order this year's book, The State of the Free Press 2024. They come out with a new one every year that lets you know what news stories have been inadequately covered or falsely covered by the mainstream media, the corporate media. Project Censored generally hates the mainstream media and the corporate media. And then also another shout out to Rob Tomaszewski, the KPCA station manager. I keep forgetting to give a shout out to him. He's sort of the backbone of KPCA FM. Okay. And State of the Free Press 2024. And go to Project Censored's website, and it's project-censored.org. That'll get you to their website. Okay, I guess you really do need the hyphen in there too. Okay. Locally, John Crowley at Aquas Cafe. Check out their events calendar online. And this afternoon is Drinks with Shrinks. And it's not at Aquas Cafe. And it's going to start at 5:15 at, let's see. I wrote it down for last week's show. It's over behind the shopping center here in Petaluma at the Arts Maker's Space. It's behind Mary's Pizza and the CVS. Oh, man, I can't find it now, but it's a special presentation by a therapist, and it starts at 5:15, and I assume they'll have drinks there, probably that you can buy. Oh, there it is. I found it. Life on Earth Art Makers Space. It's at 133 Copeland here in Petaluma. And Todd Disney, who's a psychology doctorate, is the presenter. And he's going to, I don't know, explain his, I guess, unique therapy method. Okay, so I am not going to be going to it. I like these gatherings of Drinks with Shrinks, and they happen usually once a month. And I'm looking for the two that I know. They were not there the last time at Aquas Cafe at 4:30. Okay, I'm not going to say their names. Okay. Okay. Tim Conrad. This is all local people right now. Tim Conrad, a good photographer, has his works up occasionally at some galleries. Tom and Nancy Throw, Kevin and Lori. Nice seeing you guys last Saturday at Lori's 75th birthday party. Dave and Rosita Takach in Sacramento. Rich and Kathy in Sebastopol. Dennis and Megan from Tiburon. And Yvonne and Rick in San Francisco. Nice talking with you, Rick, at the last Saturday at Lori and Kev's. Stan and Kathy in Pacifica. Aunt Jackie and her two daughters, Samantha and Melanie, down in L.A. My brother Brandon and Mina in Arizona in the Santan Valley area. And their daughter, Andrea, who is my niece. She's a lifelong nurse. And I forget the name of the hospital she works at, but her husband is Tim, who is a retired Marine. And they have three little terrorist guys, as they call them. Okay, the snake lady, I keep forgetting to mention her, down in Patagonia, Arizona. I think that's in the southwest corner of Arizona. Anyway, Karina Hilliard, I met her at a Skeptics conference about 4 or 5 years ago in Las Vegas. And she's or was, I haven't heard from her in a long time, an animal control officer down there in Patagonia. You got a snake curled up in a little sunspot in your kitchen? Call her. She removes snakes. Okay, Arkansas, Shannon Reed, who has gone into real estate in Arkansas, but she's supplementing her income as a massage therapist, which she used to be here at the Fairmont Spa and Hotel over there in Sonoma. It's just over the hills from Petaluma, where I am right now. Okay, all the way down to Florida, Nelson and Alice Slidell. Nelson is a retired United States Public Health Service officer, and their uniforms very closely resemble naval officers' uniforms. It looks good. I don't know why they need those uniforms, but they're in them. Okay, and also in Florida, Amelia Beamer. Check her out on YouTube. She is a shill for Locus, Locus magazine, which is just over in Oakland, here in the Bay Area. And they publish once a month, and they review books from the genres science fiction, horror, and fantasy. And Amelia will let you know on YouTube which books they're reviewing for this month. She should come out with a new YouTube, the first week in March or so. Look her up. Check her out. Okay, and Dr. Dave in Raleigh-Durham, North Carolina. And go to his website. He's a retired pulmonary physician, probably the greatest one in the world. And he is in art now. And he has some very unique takes on reality that he translates onto, I'm not sure whether it's oil or acrylics, but he does it. He's up in Chicago now. And go to his website, Dave Rubin Painting, all one word, .org. I think it's .org. Let me look that one up. I think I wrote it down. Oh, where is it? Doesn't matter. DavidRubinPainting.org. Okay. All right. And back here on the West Coast, the Sonora crowd, Robert Finnegan. His wife, Colleen, passed away a couple of months ago. Hope you're doing well, Robert. Bob and Sandy Fisher and their two offspring, Brad and Martha. Darrell Larson, the Sonora High School's Bronco rider. We had an informal group of rodeo. It wasn't an official team, but they were high school students that entered rodeo contests, and his event was bronc riding. And he has a lot of broken bones. They've all healed now to show for it. Okay. And Judy May, Lynn Quayle, Kathy Francis, John Gleason, and his two daughters, Tiffany and, oh gosh, brain freezes. I hate them, but I've got to live with them. Okay. Tiffany and Jennifer. Whew. Okay, and Jennifer and I are friends on Facebooks. And then all the way down in Mexico City, Rosamalia Lopez Negrete, and she likes to send pictures of these exotic birds to me on Facebook, and they're all beautiful. I don't know where she gets these photographs, whether she takes them or buys the picture. I don't know, but they're beautiful birds down in Mexico City in the parks down there. All right, enough of that. Shout outs. Okay, I promised my thousands and thousands of viewers and listeners that I will start every program with good news. And so here's the meat of the show. Good news, the FDA this February, we're still in the month of February, approved the antibody drug Omalizumab. God, where do they come up with these names? Omalizumab. Although easier to say is Xolair. That's the, I guess, drug company's name for it. Okay, I'll spell it Xolair. And what it does is lessens the reactions to food allergies. Okay, it's injectable or subcutaneous in some way. If you have food allergies, you or your child, ask your physician, your primary care physician, about Xolair, and it lessens the reactions to food allergies. Peanuts are a big thing. I was tutoring a student when I was still tutoring, and this guy had peanut allergies, so I learned that right away. Don't give them peanuts. I used to give snacks to all my tutoring students. Usually, Cheez-Its is what 90% of them preferred. And but this guy I gave peanuts to once. He ate a few, and whoa, I shouldn't do that. He reminded me that he had a allergy, so against peanuts. Okay, enough of that. We have not a cure for it, but injectable medication that will lessen the effects. Thank you, food and drug industry. All right. More good news. The Baylor Religion Survey of 2007 and 2021, I'm going to compare those two, says that Christian nationalism is fading from the general population. That is definitely good news. 2 surveys were taken, 2007, 2021. And they were both longitudinal studies, and they both asked the same questions. Okay, should the federal government advocate Christian values? Okay, 33% disagreed in 2021. Back in 2007, it was only 19% disagreed. That's a good trend. Prayer in schools, should that be encouraged or allowed or whatever? In 2021, 18% agreed with that. Okay, versus only 12% in 2000. Oh, I got these backwards. My bad. Okay, 12% agreed in 2021 and 18% agreed back in 2007. So prayer in schools is on a downward trend. That's good. That's one of the things that the uber religious GOP, the hateful creeps of the GOP, are all in favor of. Encouraging prayer in the classroom. That's a way to make Jewish and Muslim and students feel unwelcome, which they're for. Okay. All right. New topic. Tennessee, that yucky state, just passed a law allowing state officials to refuse to solemnize same-sex marriages. And the Republican hate goes on. Viewers and listeners, you can become a secular celebrant. Go to the CFI. That's the, Center for Inquiry. I'm not, I should have written it down here, but how you actually get to the website for CFI. Center for Inquiry. They're the outfit back in Amherst, New York. That's upstate New York, just outside the University, SUNY, SUNY, Buffalo. And they're the headquarters of CFI. And they also publish the Skeptical Inquirer magazine that I subscribe to and have subscribed to it for about almost 20 years now. And I would encourage all my listeners and viewers to subscribe to the actual physical magazine of Skeptical Inquirer. And if you don't want to do that, if they begin to pile up after a while, as they did in this house, you can subscribe to their online information. Okay. Become a secular celebrant, and then you can marry same-sex couples or anybody who's in a loving relationship to your heart's content. Okay. New topic. Florida's quack Surgeon General says that Florida's unvaccinated kids exposed to measles can skip quarantine. Measles cases are trending upward, especially in Florida. And the MMR vaccination is 98% effective at preventing measles, mumps, and rubella. Although the quack Surgeon General Joseph Ladapo, he was appointed to that position by the governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis, he of the white boots. Okay. Fortunately, we don't have to worry about him becoming a Republican candidate for president. He was disposed of by the orange sociopathic bloat bag in the Republican nomination contests. Okay. Very sad news. The next Benedict update, they still don't know the actual cause of death. But Owasso police now say they haven't ruled out that the fight in the Owasso High School girls' bathroom was the cause of her death. And I'm loath to even call it a fight. There were 3 girls who ganged up on Nex, and I have no way of knowing what actually happened in there, but 3 against 1 is not a fight. It's a mugging. And Nex was bullied for the last year in the high school because, all right, she is bi gender. And she herself was attempting to explain her situation to her grandmother, and her grandmother admitted that she was learning what it meant to view herself, next viewing herself, as exactly bi gender, and what all it entailed with how she presented herself to the world, how she wanted to use correct pronouns to describe herself. But that kind of action, especially in Oklahoma, brings on the bullies. All right? And I'm eagerly awaiting, well, not eagerly, that's the wrong word to use, but I'm waiting to hear if the medical examiner in Owasso, the little town outside of Tulsa, can come up with a believable cause of death. I don't trust Oklahoma officials at all. Okay? All right. And next Benedict has had all sorts of memorials, actually all over the country, maybe even all over the world, of people that were mourning her death. Good for them. Okay. New topic. All right. Palestine. All right. There's protests all over the world and in this country, and on a lot of high school and college campuses that call themselves pro-Palestine. Well, very few of the protesters call themselves pro-Hamas. Hamas is a political party in the Gaza area, and they have a militant military wing that started this whole thing off, this current round of conflict on October 7th. And and it's been going on ever since. And most of the protesters couldn't care less what really has happened over the years between the Arabs and the Jewish people in the area called Palestine. Well, myself, the Midnight Skeptic, I'm going to explain it all for you. And I was a history major in college, and I've got my master's in it. And this was not my thesis topic, but I studied a lot about it. And my actual thesis topic was the history of the American teenager in the 20th century. I won't go into that, but it was an interesting topic. But I took a number of courses, and I'm not relying on just that. I'm relying on a lot of things that I have learned since I got out of college and since the advent of Wikipedia and the internet. So here it is, and I've confirmed a lot of things that I found out. Okay. Okay, I'm getting a phone call now. Okay. I trust my answering machine to warn me when it's a suspected scam, which this is. Okay, all right. This is a quote from Zuhair Mohsen, and I'll spell his last name, capital Mohsen. And it's a quote from 1977. He was being interviewed by a Dutch newspaper journalist, and the newspaper in question is Trouw, capital Trouw. And I've never seen a copy of it. I just found out about it from this article. But it's a respected newspaper in the Netherlands. And, well, I don't know for sure if it's respected. But anyway, I'm saying that. Okay. And this is a quote from Zuhair Mohsen. Quote, "The Palestinian people do not exist. There are no differences between Jordanians, Palestinians, Syrians, and Lebanese. We are part of one people, the Arab nation. I have relatives with Palestinian, Lebanese, Jordanian, and Syrian citizenship. We are one people. It is only for political reasons that we carefully endorse our Palestinian identity. Indeed, it is of national interest for the Arabs to encourage the existence of the Palestinians in the face of Zionism. And I will talk about Zionism on next week's show. All right? There are pros and cons about Zionism. And I am not anti-Semitic, but I have doubts about the good that Zionism has done. Okay, enough of that. Okay, after the end of World War I, we're going back, the League of Nations was formed at the behest of Woodrow Wilson and his 14 points. It was one of Woodrow Wilson's 14 points. I'm not sure which one, but he attempted to bring peace to the world, specifically Europe, with all of its, conflicts and nationalism. Okay, and for that, he won the Nobel Peace Prize. The Paris Peace Conference from January 1919 to 1920 brought together the victorious combatants from World War I to set the peace terms for the defeated Central Powers. Okay, now, history lesson. Who were the Central Powers? Germany, Austria-Hungary, Bulgaria, and the Ottoman Empire. They lost the war. Okay. Out of this Paris Peace Conference came the San Remo Conference of April 1920. It was convened specifically to deal with the territories of the defeated Ottoman Empire. The prime ministers of Britain, France, Italy, and Japan, I don't know why Japan, attended the San Remo Conference, but it was preceded by the Conference of London between Britain, France, and Italy on 12 February to 10 April of 1920. This, the Conference of London, was preceded by a very secretive Sykes-Picot agreement between England and France. Sykes was the British guy, and Picot was the French guy. They were diplomats. Sykes was actually in the military of England. Okay, I forget what his rank was now, but he met with Picot. And they met in 1916 after the Ottoman Empire agreed to an alliance with Germany, which occurred January 22nd of 1915. Sykes and Picot, in November of 1915, through January 3rd of 1916, they were talking and sipping their port wine or champagne or whatever and having a diplomatically good old time talking to each other and carving up the Ottoman Empire. Okay, I'm riffing. Okay, they drew up maps partitioning the Ottoman Empire with the assumption of victory by the Triple Entente. Okay, now, I told you who the Central Powers were. The Triple Entente were England, France, and Russia. Okay? No, wait a minute. Is that correct? Russia may have been going, okay, I may have screwed this up. Russia was undergoing the Russian Revolution at this time. So the Triple Entente was England, France, and Italy. My bad. The secret agreement or treaty was signed on May 16th, 1916. Okay. Okay, the Russian Revolution was going on strong when that was signed. Okay, the Treaty of Sevres, capital Sevres, replaced the Sykes-Picot Agreement. It was signed by Britain, France, Italy, Greece, and representatives of the Kurdish people and the Armenian people. The Treaty of Lausanne, capital Lausanne, replaced it in 1923. It was signed by the new Turkish Republic. The Ottoman Empire was no longer part of it. Kemal Ataturk's new government of Turkey. That was signed, the Treaty of Lausanne. Okay, the new Turkey, Britain, France, Italy, Japan, Greece, Romania, and Yugoslavia at Lausanne, Switzerland. Yeah. Okay, that's a town in Switzerland. July 24th, 1923. After 7 months of haggling back and forth. The Treaty of Versailles, that actually stopped the war and supposedly settled things, was signed on June 28th, 1919. Whew. The Balfour Declaration came out November 2nd, 1917. And that was a document made up by representatives of the British Zionist movement and Lord Balfour. And it said, and I don't have it written down here, but His Majesty's government looks favorably on the establishment of a homeland for the Jewish people in Palestine. Okay, I will, when I talk about Zionism on the next show, I will go into exactly what the Balfour Declaration said. Okay, in the formation of the League of Nations, Britain was granted a mandate for Palestine on April 25th, 1920 at the San Remo Conference, and on July 24th, 1922, this mandate was approved by the League of Nations. All right, let's get off of all of that kind of crap. Okay. The demographics of Palestine, the area called Palestine, pre-World War I, is hard to quantify because both Arabs and Jews avoided the Ottomans' census, which they took every year. And that was for 3 reasons: to avoid taxes, to avoid military conscription, and to avoid questions of illegal residence. There was no unified Palestine in the Ottoman system of districts. Jerusalem, Accra, Nablus, which included some areas of what is now Lebanon. They were all vilayets or sanjaks. Those are the names of areas of administration in the Ottoman Empire. Okay. Um, Given that the Ottoman census of 1878 found 404,000 Muslims and only 43,000 Christians and only 25,000 Jews, that was 1878 census. Okay. Jewish immigration to historic Palestine grew over the first decades of the 20th century, pre-World War I, especially after World War I in the 1930s, resulting in Arab pressure on the British, who now had the governing mandate to control Jewish immigration. Immigration certificates were given out to various Jewish organizations in Europe. They were valuable paperwork that would allow them to immigrate with British permission to Palestine. With the rise of fascism in Europe, many Jews were not willing to wait for years for immigration certificates. In 1934, the Valos, a ship, became the first chartered immigration vessel to arrive in Palestine with 350 Jews aboard. By the start of World War II, thousands of Jewish immigrants had arrived illegally, that doesn't mean anything, in Palestine by ship. They were aided and protected by the Haganah, which was the Zionist paramilitary, I lost my place, the Zionist paramilitary, which was a pre-Israeli Defense Force military wing. Okay. After the State of Israel in 1948 was formed, the Haganah was absorbed into the Israeli Defense Force. Okay. There followed riots between Arabs who opposed the Balfour Declaration and Jewish immigration and the Palestinian Jews. Jerusalem riots in March of 1920, riots in Jaffa in 1921, and other conflicts ensued in all the way up to 1936, which was when the Arabs had a full-scale rebellion against the British governance mandate in the area called Palestine. Okay, in June 7th of 1937, the Peel Commission, P-E-E-L, in England was convened to find out, what are we doing wrong? What's causing all this rioting amongst the Arabs? They came up with a recommendation of are you ready for this? A two-state solution. And that didn't really sit well with the Arabs in the Palestinian area. Probably not with the Jewish population either. I will look that up for next week. And the British government came out with a white paper in May 17th of 1939. World War II was right around the corner. Okay, that called for an Arab majority Palestinian state within 10 years. I'm sure the Jewish population didn't go for that. And okay, so that's the root of all this conflict. I will go into when I talk about this again next week on the Midnight Skeptic Enlightenment Show. The current conflict and protests. So, in the spirit of blaming somebody, the British are right up there, okay? And the League of Nations that gave the British a governing mandate is also to blame. The League of Nations was an utter failure. So I'll go into that more on next week's enlightening hour of the Midnight Skeptic. Okay. New topic. Okay, carbon capture. The latest hope. A new company, Heirloom Carbon Technologies. And they're headquartered right close by here in Brisbane, California, just built its first direct air capture plant in Tracy, California. They're fairly close by. They're over the pass. Oh, I'm having a brain freeze on the name of the pass. But anyway, they're about an hour's drive away from here, on the other side of the mountains in the East Bay. Heirloom will take the CO2 it pulls from the atmosphere and have the gas permanently sealed in concrete where it can't heat the planet. To make money, Heirloom will sell carbon removal credits to companies that offset their own emissions. Microsoft is one of the large backers of Heirloom. The technology relies on limestone, which is a carbon monoxide, binding with CO2 faster than it occurs naturally in nature. Carbon Cure, which is a company that injects carbon into its making of concrete. They're a company in Nova Scotia, founded in 2012, and they buy the products of companies like Heirloom Carbon Technologies. Now, there's a lot of things that I have and other scientists have. I don't consider myself a scientist, although I know more about it than Republicans. There's a lot of things that are wrong with carbon capture, and I'll go into that. Okay, here's another carbon getting out of the atmosphere article. Okay, I've got about 10 more minutes. Okay, Aquatic 1, Aquatic-1 in Singapore is being tested in cooperation with UCLA School of Engineering. The invention sends an electric current through seawater to remove carbon and turn it into solid mineral form, which I assume would then be sold to a company like Carbon Cure of Nova Scotia. Okay. Aquatic 1 is the name of the machine, and maybe it's the name of the company also. I don't know. where am I? Seawater to remove carbon and turn it into solid mineral form. A byproduct of this process is hydrogen, H2, a clean fuel. Boeing, the aircraft people, has agreed to purchase the H2 from Aquatic One. The more CO2 that is removed from the ocean, the more the ocean will absorb CO2 from the atmosphere. The two plants, one in UCLA and one at PUB, which is the Singapore Water Agency. I'm not sure what PUB stands for, but it's their national water company, will remove 3,650 metric tons of carbon dioxide per year and produce 105 metric tons of carbon negative hydrogen, H2. ICM, which is UCLA's Institute for Carbon Management, and PUB, are currently building the world's largest ocean-based CO2 removal facility. The plan is to achieve net zero emissions by 2045 by using renewable energy sources for the plant's operations. CCS, carbon capture storage, does have drawbacks. The cost of infrastructure are right now very, very high. The fossil fuel industry, the evil bastards, points to CCS as solving the CO2 problem so they can continue their bad practices, fracking and drilling and foisting their oil off on an unsuspecting world. Okay, new topic. Okay, it's getting close. Okay, bad news. The U.S. Air Force is close to becoming the Christian nationalists' military wing. The Air Force's Air War College has a number of professors, military officers, that subscribe to the Edward Burke Foundation's document, quote, National Conservatism, a Statement of Principles. The document extols the biblical traditions of the U.S. answering to the laws of God. Okay, new topic real quick. Florida bill would ban rainbow flags, and it was introduced by David Borrero, he's a Republican, of course, and also ban Black Lives Matter flags from classrooms. However, the Confederate battle flag is perfectly acceptable. Also, Tennessee bill sponsored by Gino Bulso, capital B-U-L-S-O, who is a Republican lawmaker. His bill would also ban pride flags, but Tennessee classrooms can certainly fly the Confederate flag. Okay, real quick. Bad news, the Texas Crown Act, which is in force as of 2019, sponsored by the Dove and Crown Coalition, which is talked about in Ebony magazine. The Barbers Hill Independent School District are mentally torturing Daryl George, who was a senior in high school there. He's 18. The Crown Act stands for Create a Respectful and Open World for Natural Hair. Many states, including Texas, have passed a Crown Act. As of 2023, 22 states have passed a Crown Act. It is not federal law yet, and it came up with by the Dove and Crown Act. And Dove, that bar soap made by Unilever, was one of the sponsors of it. Representative Bonnie Watson, Democrat of New Jersey, came up with it on March 18th of 1922 in House of Representatives 2116 bill. Whew, I'm getting close here. Good news. I promised everybody I would end these programs with good news. Stand with Trans is a nonprofit organization as of February 2015. It's headquartered in Farmington, Missouri, 48336. That's their zip. And go to their site, info@standwithtrans.org. And they have a group, Ally Parents, ALLY Parents, who are parents of trans kids. And they sponsor various support groups. They sponsor therapy assistance programs. And they have contacts in many, many states. And they actually pay for therapy sessions, a limited number of sessions. And I didn't know this before, but the Feel Something Foundation is one of their sponsors, and Adam Lambert is one of the funders of the Feel Good Something, and he actually started this foundation. Thank you, Adam Lambert. Okay, that does it, and here's my play out music. You have been listening to The Midnight Skeptic on KPCA LP, Petaluma, California. And we're at 103.3 on the FM dial and worldwide at www.kpca.fm. Support community radio at patreon.com/Petaluma Community Access. And remember, think critically, think logically, but live joyously, and most importantly, pet your cats. Okay, get out there, people, and be kind, for God's sakes. I know that advice is lost on Republicans, but pet your cats and be kind. I think this is a fairly good show. I'm going to get it downloaded to KPCA and then downloaded onto YouTube very, very soon. Until next week, goodbye.